My daughter Emma vanished into a Tacoma camp. She called me a failure, then left her baby behind. At the hospital, she screamed she was a queen. Now, a note from her boyfriend says they're coming for me, and I'm a single mom living in a quiet suburb of Seattle, Washington. My name's Sarah, and for years it's just been me and my daughter Emma in our cozy 2-bedroom home. Emma's 19 now, but she's always been my shadow, bright, curious, a little rebellious, but we were close, or so I thought. Everything changed when she turned 17. One evening, over dinner at our kitchen table, she dropped a bomb. "Mom, I'm non-binary," she said, her voice steady, but her eyes searching mine. I froze, fork halfway to my mouth. Non-binary? I didn't even know what that meant back then. She explained it. Some days she felt neither male nor female. Other days she was still my little girl. I nodded, trying to understand, but my head spun. I loved her, so I promised to support her, even if I didn't get it. Fast forward 2 years, and things took a darker turn. It was a rainy April afternoon, the kind where Seattle feels like it's drowning. Emma stormed into the living room, her face flushed, her voice sharp. "I'm 4 months pregnant," she blurted out. My heart stopped. 4 months? How had I missed this? Before I could process, she pointed a finger at me. "This is your fault, Mom." Her words hit like a slap. She screamed that I should have put her on hormone blockers, that my failure to accept her non-binary identity led to this. I stood there dumbfounded as she ranted. My daughter, pregnant, blaming me? It didn't add up. Then came the real gut punch. Emma sat on the couch, her arms crossed, and said she saw the baby as her sibling. Not her child, my child. She expected me to raise it, like it was my duty. My stomach churned. I loved Emma, but I'd raised her alone, working long hours at a local bookstore to keep us afloat. I wasn't about to start over with a newborn that wasn't mine. "Emma," I said, my voice shaking, "you're the mom here. You have to make some tough choices." Her eyes narrowed, and she didn't say a word. Instead, she bolted upstairs, slamming her bedroom door. I heard her sobbing through the walls, loud and raw, like she was unraveling. I sat on the couch, staring at the rain streaking down the window. How did we get here? I'd tried to be a good mom, supportive, present, even when I didn't understand her choices. But this, blaming me for her pregnancy, demanding I raise her child, it felt like a betrayal. I thought about her words, her anger, and the way she looked at me like I was the enemy. My chest tightened with worry. Who was the father? Was she safe? I wanted to knock on her door, to hold her, but something told me she needed space. I didn't sleep that night, haunted by the image of her tear-streaked face and the weight of her accusations. All I could do was wait, hoping she'd come around, but deep down, I feared this was just the beginning of something worse. The next morning, the house was too quiet. Emma's door was still locked, her sobs replaced by an eerie silence. I knocked, softly at first, then harder. "Emma, we need to talk," I called. No answer. I pressed my ear against the door, hearing faint rustling, like she was moving things around. My heart sank. Was she planning something? I didn't know what to do, so I sat on the stairs, staring at her door, feeling like a stranger in my own home. Hours passed. By noon, I couldn't take it anymore. I slid a note under her door. "I'm here when you're ready," and hoped she'd come out. She didn't. That night, around 2 a.m., I woke to the sound of footsteps. I bolted upright, my pulse racing. From my bedroom window, I saw Emma slipping out the front door, a backpack slung over her shoulder. She moved fast, disappearing into the Seattle drizzle. I ran downstairs barefoot, calling her name, but she was gone. My phone buzzed a text from her. "I'm staying with a friend. Don't worry." I called the cops to say I left on my own. My jaw clenched. The cops? Like I'd report my 19-year-old daughter as a runaway? It stung, like she was cutting me out of her life with surgical precision. I sat at the kitchen table, the same one where we'd had countless heart-to-hearts, now cold and empty. Who was this friend? I had a sinking feeling it was the baby's father. Emma had been secretive about her friends lately, especially one she'd mentioned in passing, a guy named Jake, someone she'd known since high school. I didn't know much about him, but the little I did made my skin crawl. He'd always seemed too intense, too controlling, the kind of person who could pull Emma into a mess. Was she with him now? My mind raced with worst-case scenarios, drugs, danger, or worse. I tried calling her, straight to voicemail. I texted, "Please, just let me know you're safe." No reply. By morning, I checked her social media, nothing new, just old photos of her smiling, back when things were simpler. I felt helpless, like I was losing her to something I couldn't fight. I called her best friend from high school, Mia, hoping for answers. Mia hesitated, then said, "She's with Jake. They're staying at his place in Tacoma." My stomach twisted. Tacoma wasn't far, but it felt like another world. Mia wouldn't say more, just that Emma seemed different lately. Days turned into a week. I left voicemails, sent texts, all unanswered. I drove by her favorite coffee shop in Capitol Hill, hoping to spot her, but it was pointless. One night, I found an old journal of hers under her bed, filled with scribbled notes about finding herself and breaking free. One page mentioned Jake, calling him her guide. My blood ran cold. Was he manipulating her? I wanted to storm into Tacoma, drag her home, but she was an adult. Legally, I couldn't force her back. Still, I couldn't shake the fear that she was in over her head. Then, a second text came, brief and cold. "I'm fine. Stop texting." I stared at my phone, tears stinging my eyes. It wasn't just her leaving, it was the way she'd shut me out, like I was the enemy. I lay awake that night, the rain pounding the roof, wondering where I'd gone wrong. Had I pushed her away? Was it my fault she felt I didn't accept her? All I knew was that my daughter, my Emma, was slipping away, and I was powerless to stop it. 2 weeks after Emma left, my phone buzzed with a message from her. My heart leaped, hoping for reconciliation. Instead, it was curt. "Meet me and Jake at Denny's in Tacoma, tomorrow, 10 a.m. I stared at the screen, a mix of relief and dread washing over me. She was alive, but meeting Jake? That name alone made my skin crawl. I'd met him once, years ago, at a high school movie night at our house. He was loud, always smirking, locking eyes with me in a way that felt like a challenge. Back then, he wasn't out as trans, but his attitude already rubbed me wrong. Now, he was the father of Emma's baby, and I had to face him. The next morning, I drove to Tacoma, the gray Seattle sky mirroring my mood. The Denny's parking lot was half empty, the neon sign flickering. Inside, I spotted Emma in a corner booth, her hair messy, her face pale. Next to her sat Jake, his posture slouched but his eyes sharp, sizing me up as I approached. I slid into the booth, my hands clenching under the table. "Hey, Emma," I said softly. She barely looked at me, her gaze fixed on the table. Jake, though, leaned forward, his voice dripping with accusation. "You've been poisoning her," he said, loud enough for nearby tables to glance over. I blinked, stunned. "Poisoning? You forced her on birth control, messed with her head," he continued. My jaw tightened. I'd helped Emma get a prescription 2 years ago because she asked for it, worried about her irregular cycles. I'd have supported her if she wanted to stop. Before I could respond, Jake kept going. "You didn't give her hormone blockers. You failed her as a mother." His words cut deep, each one a knife twisting in my chest. I looked at Emma, waiting for her to speak, to defend me. She just sat there, nodding along, her eyes cold. "Emma, is this what you think?" I asked, my voice shaking. She shrugged, still avoiding my gaze. Jake pounded the table, making the coffee cups rattle. "It'll take years to fix what you did to her," he snapped. "And now you're refusing to take care of her baby? You're treating her like garbage." I felt my face flush with anger. I wasn't the one abandoning a child, Emma was. I wanted to scream, but I kept my voice steady. "Jake, why can't you take care of the baby?" I asked. He scoffed, leaning back. "My parents kicked me out. I'm crashing at a friend's place. I've got nothing." I turned to Emma, desperate for her to say something, anything. "Emma, talk to me. What's your plan?" She finally looked up, her eyes hollow. "You should take the baby, Mom. It's your fault I'm in this mess." My heart shattered. This wasn't my Emma, the girl who'd laugh with me over late-night ice cream, who'd hug me when I had a bad day. Jake had her wrapped around his finger, and she was slipping further away. The waiter approached, then backed off, sensing the tension. Jake kept ranting, blaming me for everything: Emma's confusion, her pregnancy, even her anger. I tried to focus on Emma, to reach her. "Sweetheart, you're going to be a mom. You and Jake need to figure this out together." Jake laughed, a sharp, mocking sound. "Adoption's the only option if you won't step up," he said. "But if you don't take the kid, you'll never see it or Emma again." My stomach dropped. A threat? I looked at Emma, hoping she'd disagree, but she just nodded like she was under a spell. I left Denny's feeling like I'd been punched. The drive home was a blur, my hands gripping the wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. Jake's words echoed in my head, but worse was Emma's silence. She'd sat there, letting him tear me apart, agreeing with every word. I pulled into my driveway, tears streaming down my face. My daughter was gone, not just physically, but emotionally. Jake was steering her life now, and I didn't know how to pull her back. All I could do was hope she'd wake up before it was too late. Months passed with no word from Emma. The silence was deafening, each day a reminder of the rift between us. I kept busy at the bookstore, but my mind was always on her. Where was she? Was she safe? Was she eating? Then, one humid July evening, I came home from grocery shopping in Seattle, arms full of bags, and froze. A pregnant woman stood on my porch, her belly swollen, her clothes tattered. It took me a second to realize it was Emma. My daughter looked like a stranger. Her once vibrant hair was matted, her face dotted with small, jagged tattoos. She looked older, worn, like life had aged her a decade. My heart broke, but I swallowed my shock. "Emma," I whispered, setting the bags down. "You're back." She barely met my eyes, her voice flat. "Can I come in?" I nodded, fumbling with my keys, noticing the faint stench of unwashed clothes. She'd been living rough, that much was clear. I'd changed the locks after she left, half expecting her to show up like this, demanding her old room. "You can stay," I said, "but we need to talk." She shrugged, brushing past me, already heading for her old bedroom like nothing had changed. I stood in the doorway, watching her drop her backpack on the floor, my mind racing. What had happened to her? Inside, Emma was a whirlwind of chaos. She talked nonstop, her words a jumbled mess about Jake and their new community in Tacoma, a group of free spirits building a better world. She rambled about their grand fate, some utopian dream where everyone was equal, no gender, no rules. She didn't mention the baby once, not even as her due date loomed. I tried to ask about doctor visits, about her health, but she waved me off, saying she'd handled it. Her eyes were wild, darting, like she was on something. I searched her bag when she showered, nothing but clothes and a half-eaten candy bar. No drugs, but her behavior screamed trouble. The house became a war zone. Emma left dishes piled in the sink, clothes strewn across the floor. She didn't flush the toilet, didn't clean up after herself. It was like she'd forgotten how to live in a home. She demanded I take her to restaurants, claiming she was starving. I gave in twice, hoping to reconnect over burgers at a local diner. She barely ate, too busy talking about Jake's vision. I bought baby supplies, diapers, onesies, hoping to spark some maternal instinct. She picked up a pack of diapers, shrugged, and tossed them aside, muttering about her true family in Tacoma. My chest ached. Was she planning to keep this baby, or was it just another part of their movement? One night, I sat her down, my voice firm. "Emma, when's your next doctor's appointment? The baby's coming soon." She laughed, a sharp, hollow sound. "I've been to the doctor, Mom." Chill. I didn't believe her. Her stories didn't add up. She'd say one thing, then contradict herself minutes later. She talked about Jake like he was a prophet, saying he had multiple partners in their community, and she was happy to be one of them. My stomach churned. Was she in a cult? I tried to ask about the baby's future, but she'd pivot back to Jake's new people, a genderless generation they were supposedly creating. It sounded unhinged, like she'd lost touch with reality. I lay awake at night, listening to her pacing upstairs, muttering to herself. I wanted to help her, her, but she was slipping further away. She demanded money for food, clothes, even rides to Tacoma to see Jake. I refused the last one, telling her Jake wasn't welcome here after the Denny's fiasco. She glared at me, her eyes flashing with anger. "You don't get it, Mom. He's my family now." Those words cut deeper than anything. I'd raised her alone, sacrificed everything, and now I was the outsider. I clung to the hope that the baby might ground her, but deep down, I feared she was too far gone, lost in Jake's world, and I was powerless to pull her back. A week later, everything unraveled. It was a muggy Seattle night, and I was cleaning dishes when Emma doubled over in the living room, clutching her belly. "Mom," she gasped, her face pale. "It hurts." My heart raced. Her water hadn't broken, but the pain was real. I grabbed my keys, helped her to the car, and sped to Harborview Medical Center. The city lights blurred past as Emma groaned beside me, her hands gripping the seat. I kept my voice calm. "You're okay, sweetheart. We're almost there." Inside, I was panicking. She was 9 months pregnant, and I had no idea if she'd seen a doctor even once. At the hospital, chaos took over. The nurses moved fast, wheeling Emma to labor and delivery. I tried to follow, but she snapped, "Stay out, Mom." Her voice was sharp, venomous. I stood in the hallway, stunned, as the doors swung shut. A nurse, kind but firm, asked about Emma's medical history. I admitted I didn't know if she'd had prenatal care. "She said she saw a doctor, but I don't trust it," I whispered, my throat tight. The nurse nodded, her face unreadable, and promised they'd take care of her. I sank into a waiting room chair, my hands shaking. How had it come to this? Hours passed, agonizingly slow. A doctor finally approached, her expression grim. "Emma hasn't had any prenatal visits. She's high risk, but the baby's stable for now." Relief mixed with dread. I asked to see her, but the doctor hesitated. "She's difficult right now." Difficult didn't begin to cover it. When I finally got into her room, Emma was a stranger. She screamed at the nurses, calling them names I can't repeat, accusing them of oppressing her. "I'm their queen," she shouted, her eyes wild. My stomach churned. This wasn't pain talking. This was something deeper, unhinged. I pulled a nurse aside, my voice low. "She's been living in a homeless camp. I think she's on something." The nurse nodded, promising to run tests. To my shock, her blood work came back clean. No drugs, just Emma manic, cruel, and lost. I tried to talk to her, to calm her, but she cut me off. "You don't understand my destiny," she spat, her hands flailing. I felt tears prick my eyes. Destiny? This was a hospital, not a fantasy world. The nurses, saints in scrubs, stayed professional, administering painkillers that dulled her edge but didn't stop her rants. I couldn't stay in the room, her words were too raw, too hateful. I waited in the hall, ashamed of her behavior, ashamed I couldn't reach her. The baby arrived that night, a healthy boy, 7 pounds, with a shock of dark hair. I saw him through the nursery window, tiny and perfect, and my heart broke. Emma didn't want me in the delivery room, and I was almost relieved. Her cruelty to the staff left me humiliated, like I'd failed as a mother. I spoke to a social worker, spilling everything: Emma's time in the camp, Jake's influence, her erratic behavior. "She might be bipolar, or worse," I said, my voice cracking. The social worker listened, kind but guarded, noting everything. I mentioned Jake as the father, but Emma refused to confirm it, so his name stayed off the birth certificate. Then, the unthinkable happened. That evening, Emma vanished. She didn't check out, didn't say goodbye, just left her newborn in the hospital. A safe surrender. I stood in the empty room, staring at the crumpled bed, my chest hollow. The social worker explained she wouldn't face charges, but that didn't ease the pain. My daughter had abandoned her child, walked away like it meant nothing. I knew it was best for the baby. Foster care had to be better than that camp, but it felt like a piece of me died. Emma was gone. Back to Jake. Back to whatever twisted world she'd chosen over her own son. I sat in my Seattle living room, the house too quiet without Emma's chaos. The baby was gone, safe in foster care, but the weight of everything crushed me. I'd raised Emma alone, poured my heart into her, and now she was a stranger, lost to Jake's world. I stared at a photo on the mantle, Emma at 16, laughing at a Pike Place Market fish toss. Where was that girl now? I felt like a failure, like I'd missed some crucial moment that sent her spiraling. Was it when she came out as non-binary? Should I have done more? Understood better? The questions haunted me, but deep down, I knew her choices weren't all my fault. Jake's influence loomed large. His community in Tacoma sounded like a cult, with its talk of new people and grand fates. I'd contacted his parents after Emma left the hospital, hoping for answers. They'd all but disowned him, calling him trouble. That only deepened my fear for Emma. Was she safe? Was she eating? The thought of her in that camp, pregnant again, made my stomach twist. I'd texted her, saying I'd always be here, but Jake was banned from my home. No reply. I checked my phone, blocked again. It stung, but I wasn't surprised. I met with a counselor at a local clinic, desperate for clarity. She suggested Emma might have a mental health issue, bipolar disorder, maybe, or something triggered by stress. I nodded, tears falling. It made sense, but it didn't ease the pain of her cruelty, especially to the hospital staff. She'd treated them like dirt, and I'd apologized for her, mortified. The counselor urged me to set boundaries, to protect myself. "You can't save her if she doesn't want help," she said. Those words hit hard. I wanted to save Emma, but I couldn't keep letting her chaos consume me. I started researching moving companies. The idea of leaving Seattle, our home for years, broke my heart, but I couldn't shake the fear of Jake and his community showing up on my porch. I imagined them wild-eyed, demanding Emma, demanding the baby. I couldn't live like that, always looking over my shoulder. I packed away Emma's old things, her journals, her stuffed bear, hoping one day she'd come back for them, herself again. But for now, I had to let go, at least a little, to save my own sanity. I still love Emma fiercely, but I'm angry too at her, at Jake, at myself. She's sick, caught in something bigger than her, but she's also responsible for her choices. Abandoning her son, treating people like they're beneath her, it's not just mania. It's a betrayal of everything I taught her. Yet, I hold on to a sliver of hope. Maybe she'll wake up, leave Jake, get help. Until then, I'm setting boundaries, guarding my heart. I'll always be her mom, but I can't let her destroy me. For now, I'm taking it one day at a time, praying she finds her way back before it's too late.